All right, let's go, base. Hey, number 2, we got Jack and the Giant on the beanstalk. All right, let's go. Give me them toes. All right, remember Judgment Week. Print this out. Write all your answers down. Snap that picture of it. Send it to me. Let's see how you're doing. You want to get used to this. Can you get it done in 22 and a half minutes? That is what is predicted that you're going to need to be able to do this in. So make sure you're doing it, okay? And we can see where you guys stand. All right, here we go. So we got Jack is climbing down a vertical beanstalk that goes to the ground. The Giant is chasing him from above. At time t equals 0, Jack's 50 feet high. The Giant's 70 feet high. Can Jack get down in time? Homie Holmes, can he get it there? Jack moves down the beanstalk at this rate, okay, and has the strength to climb at 9 minutes. For 9 minutes, the Giant moves down the beanstalk and can go for 10 minutes. Come on, Jack is soft, yo. The graph of both of the curves is shown to the right, and those look like they're velocity graphs, right? Because those are both the rates. I think something very important, remember, you're doing this on your own. Don't you dare have me teaching it to you. You need to see what you would score. I think very important, very first thing to pay attention to is which one of these curves is for Jack and which one of these is for the Giant. Well, you should plug some zeros in. Okay, if I put a 0 in for T for Jack, I get 9 as my answer, right? If I plug a 0 in for T, I get 9 as my answer. If I put a 0 in for the Giant, I get sine of 0, 0, I get 7. So that means this is the Giant's and this is Jack's. Okay, I think that's important to pay attention to. Okay, A says find the value of 50 minus, okay, so let's go 50 minus j of 5, which would be the integral from 0 to 5 of j. Ooh, let me get j back in here. What's j? Okay. 3 is a constant, so I'm going to bring the 3 out, and then I have 9 minus t. Now, I am told by everybody that's smarter than me that you are going to have to show all of your work, okay? So that means this might be a little U sub for some of us, and BC, hopefully not too bad, but you're going to add a 3/2 to that bad boy, right? Add a 1, I'm sorry, you get 3/2, but then you have to divide by that, and there also is a negative that you got to take care of. And then we're going to go from 0 to 5. Remember, when solving for this, and I think you're going to have to show all of the work, that is what I'm being told, that negative 2/3 bring out, which would end up being a +2. And why is that smart to do? Well, because now it makes my math so much more okay. All right, so I get 50 plus 2. All right, let's plug in that 5. I get 9 minus 5, which is 4. Then you have to do 4 to the 3/2, which would be the square root of 4, which is 2, and then 2 cubed, which is hachi, or 8. Okay, you put a 0 in there. You get 9 minus 0 is 9. You take the square root of 9, which is tree. Tree to the third is 27. Okay, so you get 50 plus 2 times negative 19, which would be 50 minus 38, which would be 12. So what the heck does that mean? That means that after 5 minutes, Jack is 12 feet high, because remember, the integral will be how much Jack has climbed. Okay, can he get down the beanstalk in time? Okay, he's at time t equals 5 minutes. He is 12 feet from the ground. Did the Giant catch him? Maybe. Well, that's what question B is asking. And it sure is, because it's talking about the Giant. This Giant starts at 75 feet above, but what's the total amount? What's his displacement over those first 5 minutes? And this one here would be a 7 plus pi sine of pi t over 5 dt. Once again, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have to do this by hand. Sure, could you use your calculator to make sure you're getting it right? For sure. Whoops. The antiderivative of sine is negative. Okay, it's going to be cosine. Okay, that's like a little u sub. So you're going to, my u would be pi t over 5, which means the derivative of that would be pi over 5. So I have to divide by a pi over 5. which would be the same thing as multiplying by 5 over pi. So the pi's are going to cancel out. Hopefully you're with me. If you're not with me on that, I can go through it slower on Google Meets. Okay, we get 75 minus. Let's plug in that 5, and you're going to have to show this. That's the guess. That's the word on the streets. Okay, minus 5, and then it would be cosine 5 pi over, so it'd be just a pi. All right, that's the first piece, and then we're going to subtract, plugging in a 0, which would be 0 minus 5 cosine of 0. What does that give me? That gives me 75 minus 35. Ooh, that's going to be a negative one, so that would be 40 minus plus, because you're going to distribute that negative in there of 5. So that would be a 75 minus a 45, which would be 30. Oh, Jack might just do it, right? Because after 5 minutes, Jack was 12 feet high, and the giant was 30 feet high. Okay, so I think Jack might make it. All right, here we go. Let's go to C. C is different. That's a BC question. It says, over the first 9 minutes, approximately what percentage of time is Jack moving away from the giant? Well, Jack would be moving away whenever Jack's velocity is greater, or the rate that he's climbing is greater. And here's our graph of their rates. And the green is higher than the red between 0 and 1. Now, if we were allowed to use a calculator, what you would do is set J of t equal to G of t. And you know what? Where do they intersect? At 1. They intersect at 6, because also the green is higher, okay, from 6 to about 7.5. And so what is the percentage of the time that Jack is moving away when his velocity is greater? Well, 0 to 1 is 1 second. 6 to 7.5 is about 1.5 seconds. So that'd be 2.5 minutes. Oh, these are minutes, I'm sorry, of the 9. Which if you do that in your, this might be a calculator, or you could leave it like that. Okay, but in our calculator, that'd be 27.8% of the time Jack would be moving away. Here, the giant, dude, that giant got mad and was screaming down that beanstalk. Okay, but that would be that problem. That'd probably only be worth probably a point, so don't be stressed out if you weren't able to get that right. Okay, find and interpret G prime of 2.5. All right, well, G prime of 2.5, well, that'd be G prime of x. And G prime of x would be the derivative of an antiderivative, so it would just be really G of x. So that's what that is. Well, what's G of x? That's the rate of the giant screaming down that beanstalk. Okay, so I mean, in terms of interpreting it, that's not too bad. And now all I have to do is plug that guy into there. And remember, I cannot say it enough, in this year's test, since there's no non-calculator, there's no calculator, they are going to make you show your work. Okay, that'd be 7 plus pi. Those guys cancel out. It'd be sine of, what would that be? Pi over 2, which would be ichi. So it'd be 7 plus pi, and that'd be feet per minute, right? Because that's what it tells us, feet per minute. And that's an easy one to interpret. Okay, that would be the giant's velocity at 2.5 minutes. Okay, not too bad. These are BC. Come on, you got to give me more than that. Here we go, E. So I think these first two problems are probably the type that maybe you could see. Does the giant reach the bottom of the beanstalk? Explain. Well, the giant starts at 75, right? Okay, and then what happens after that is we're going to subtract the total displacement from 0 to, how long does that dude go? He can go for 10 minutes. Okay, and what is the rate? It was 7 plus pi sine. So this was very important that you could find the antiderivative of this right here. If you were not able to find the antiderivative, you would have really been in some trouble. So let's do it again here. I'm just going to work on this piece here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do it up here. Remember, that'd be 7t plus minus, remember we did it already, there was the 5 from the u sub cosine of that guy, and we're going to evaluate that from 0 to 10. So that would be, 70, right? Minus, I'm going to kind of do this a quicker way this time. We have that 5 out there, right? And that would be 2 pi. And cosine of 2 pi is ichi. Okay, so we get that, and then it'd be minus. You plug a 0 in there, that's 0. And then we get a minus, plug this cosine of 0, which would be 1, so 5. And that would be just, so that'd be a 5, that'd be 5, so it'd be 70. So it'd be 75 minus 70. Oh, dude, he almost made it. But you know what, Giant? You couldn't do it because homie was too fast down the beanstalk. All right. Once again, for these questions here, you guys, there's a total of about 10 points. Okay, there it is, all right there. The scoring, hit pause, make sure you check it out. If you got 5, 6 out of 10, you did pretty good. This is going to tell us where we stand. We all know we've got that Taylor coming up. We've got that ratio test coming up. Hopefully these were okay. Hopefully you spent the time on them. There's just going to be 2 questions each day. Judgment week. How did you do? Come to Google Meets and don't miss those Kahoots. We're going to have a good, fun pizza party, and we want everybody there. So win it. To win it. What is it? Whatever's. Aloha's.